Show with John Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, FANation? John Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS Playbook Live Show. We are here for the Friday 6-game main slate over on DraftKings. If you're playing over on FanDuel, you got the full 8-gamer. Sir Grande on the Playbook today, and something kind of cool happened the last time he did the NBA Playbook, right, James?
It was something light, something pretty cool.
Something pretty cool, right? Mr. Grande taking down first place to NBA DFS contest over on Wednesday when he was on the Playbook. So let's see if we can get some of that Playbook magic to roll back over to us here for this 6-game slate. It feels like it's been forever since we've had a kind of a full slate.
Yeah.
Basically a week at this point, because we had 1 game on Monday, 2 games Tuesday, Wednesday, 3 games yesterday and Thursday. Now a 6 and 8 gamer here to close out the work week. How are you feeling about things, man? Obviously, yesterday you were a little under the weather. You had your flu game moment on Wednesday. Bounce back, ready to go?
Yeah, I'm feeling okay. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it. Still a little bit like congested, so a little bit.
Sure.
I was running a very high fever yesterday, but we're feeling better today. Locked in for the slate. Although I will say, I don't know if anything matters to this point for the slate because nothing has happened yet. There are so many questionable tags that we're still awaiting that we can sit here and digest all this stuff now and none of it matters later because we still have Mobley news to sift through and Vooch news and Jamal Murray news and Josh Giddey news and Miles Bridges news. There's no shortage of news to come. So I'm locked in for what has happened thus far.
Sure.
But man, there's still a lot to come from now until lock.
Definitely a lot still to go through here. So we'll break it all down. We appreciate you guys tuning in here. If you haven't already hit that like button, do so. Free way to support what we do here over on the Fantasy Alarm YouTube channel. If you're watching on X, go ahead, watch on X. Give us a follow, give us a share, give us a like there. But come over to the YouTube page, hit that subscribe button and that like button as well, so you get notified whenever we go live here. Putting out preview shows at night, live shows at 5 o'clock. We got football shows throughout the week to get you guys ready for your fantasy football and DFS needs. So with that said here, James, let's jump into it. Point guard position on a larger slate. We got a couple of guys up over 10 grade to talk about here. Actually, just 2, Jokic and Davis on this slate up over $10,000. So keeping that in mind, we get James Harden at $9,700. We'll talk about Edwards and Mitchell at shooting guard. So Harden, Maxey, Morant, Halliburton, we'll say is your top 4 point guards here today. How would you rank them out for us?
I like Harden number 1. I like James Harden quite a bit tonight. I think no one's going to get to him. I mean, for what it looks like, the Clippers in general, outside of one value play we'll talk about, 2, I guess, but we don't need to talk about one of those 2, in my opinion. So James Harden, I really like. I think he's flying way under the radar. We've seen him in this spot twice. He's looked really good. He gets a big usage bump when there's no Derrick Jones Jr. on the floor. Derrick Jones Jr. obviously out. 35% usage, 1.5 fantasy points per minute without DJJ. So I like Harden number 1. I like Morant 2. The only reason I probably would list Morant 2 and not 1 is because this game, is what it is. I think Brooklyn has been incredibly scrappy, and I think their pace of play kind of keeps them in a lot of games. They slow down the game quite a bit, but they're bottom 10 defensively. Memphis is one of the best teams in the West, and so, we've only seen Ja over 30 minutes, 4 out of the 14 games he's played this year.
Yeah.
Each of those games, 44 plus fantasy points. So well on his way to 5X plus. But is Brooklyn, Memphis the 5th out of 15? I'm not entirely sure that this is
Sure.
Ja 2, Maxey 3 coming off a monster game for
with
him.
Everybody, right? Everybody back, and Maxey goes out there and says, yeah, that's fine. I'm still here. 25, 11, and 14.
Yeah, like obviously some of that is I would say a little bit of a facade, like 11 rebounds.
Sure.
He hadn't had 11 rebounds combined in the last 3 games prior, right? So, is that a little bit of a all right, do it again for me? Yeah. But it is obviously a great spot against Indiana. One of probably the only games this year Philly's been favored in. And obviously they're playing better with Joel being back. So
Sure.
I like Maxey 8,800, but he's third, and then Halliburton for me of that top 4 would be fourth. I don't hate him, but like it's just very hard to.
Halliburton flipping the script on us here after shooting so poorly on the road all season. Started to shoot better on the road. Gets home, can't shoot against Charlotte. Just misses everything. So I got him here against Philly, $8,600. If you think this is going to be a competitive game from a back and forth standpoint, certainly Halliburton always capable in tournaments, but not the greatest DVP spot for him. Working our way under 8K. Murray, as we talked about, is questionable for tonight. He did go through shoot around. So it seems like there's a good chance that he does suit up here against Clippers. Not that we like going up against Clippers generally anyways. Losing Derrick Jones and Man, though, or do kind of like take some of that defensive pressure off the floor for the Clippers. So something still to consider. Shooter versus Memphis. Garland against Washington in a game that looks like it's got a football spread. There with Cleveland and the last I saw it was like 16 and a half.
It's 17. Yeah, 17.
Like that's pretty ridiculous for a basketball game. And then Poole in that 7K range as well.
It's probably just Schroeder for me in this tier. Murray's always been playing tournaments. Garland, if Washington is somehow to keep it close, obviously Darius Garland is a good price, but I like Dennis Schroeder. I like Brooklyn if you think that that game can stay close. I think that game from, largely is just tournament based for me. There's a lot of tournament appeal to it. This spot for Brooklyn, Memphis is really good defensively. Yeah. They rank 4th in defensive rating, but they also rank 4th in pace. So, we've talked about Brooklyn ad nauseum this year, how slow they're playing. They're dead last in pace. So Schroeder at 77, no Cam Thomas, no Zaire Williams. In that scenario, 27% usage, 1.1 fantasy points per minute. I'd be down to get to Dennis Schroeder 77. I think the price probably scares some people off.
Sure.
But I think if they have any chance at staying competitive with Memphis, it's at the hands of 2-3 guys really for Brooklyn. Schroeder, and then we'll talk about the other 2 as well.
At point guard for the Bulls is going to be kind of interesting here today, right? Because Patrick Williams is still out, Josh Giddey questionable, Nikola Vucevic questionable. As you said, if those guys all end up being ruled out tonight, you have Kobe White, you got Ayo Dosunmu, and we'll talk about Zach LaVine at the shooting guard position. Where does Chicago rank for you in this matchup against Charlotte, knowing that the chalk is actually on the other side of this matchup today?
Pat Will not ruled out yet. I don't know if that's what you meant. He's questionable.
Questionable, okay.
I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on Chicago until we know what's going to happen. Because,
if everyone ruled in, do you still consider Kobe White a play tonight or anything like that? Or,
I'm indifferent.
Okay.
A full strength Bulls team, with Williams, you have to assume Ayo's minutes get hit a little bit. Giddey's minutes probably get hit a little bit. It's just a lot of people. I'm indifferent. I'm fine with it. Fine with White. Giddey's always in playing tournaments. If you get the 30 minutes, there's a ceiling. But if Giddey sits, Vooch sits, then it's just a completely different conversation for Chicago.
Sure.
It's we're talking Kobe, LaVine, Ayo, Jalen Smith. There's 4 Chicago Bulls that I would consider core plays at that point. So. Sure. Right now, I'm just a little indifferent if everyone's in, because you also have to factor in that Lonzo he's also playing about 20 minutes or has twice in the last 4 games. So as Lonzo's minutes go up, we're going to see minutes cut. So I'm a little indifferent until we get more news on Chicago in general.
All right. Obviously, if Murray gets ruled out, Westbrook becomes an appealing play at $6,300. How are you handling the Lakers? Obviously, LeBron already ruled out. We got a probable tag for Austin Reeves here today. D'Angelo Russell had been playing coming off of a monster game. Do you have a lean for the Lakers? No one's playing them today outside of AD, and even then, AD low ownership today.
I don't have much interest here. Reeves has a lot of good stuff like in his corner when LeBron's off the floor. Not that D'Lo doesn't, but Reeves, bigger usage bump, fantasy points per minute are great. Also, like even in that D'Lo game, he didn't start. Now with Reeves back, what do the minutes look like for D'Lo if he's still coming off the bench? So because I'd assume Reeves is your starter once again, and like it's easy to just pivot Gabe Vincent back to the bench. So I'm not paying 6,100 for D'Lo. Also, Minnesota's defense looks really good again. They look like last year's team. So
starting to figure it out a little bit, right?
Yeah, they are. So I'm a little bit indifferent about both. If I were to play one, it'd be Reeves. Likely to start, better eligibility, better numbers without LeBron, but a little indifferent about the Lakers. Honestly, just kind of outside of Anthony Davis. Like I would play Anthony Davis based on we'll get to the numbers without LeBron.
Yeah.
But everything else is just kind of
Anthony pop it in. Davis numbers go up when LeBron is out. That is for sure.
Huh?
For sure, true.
No.
Warren wants to know thoughts on Ben Simmons here. $5,400 for him. Minutes haven't been great. He is on the trade block supposedly.
Oh, here we go again.
I don't know how I get there's some guys out tonight, but like I don't know how you look at Ben Simmons and think that's something you want to get to here today. Anthony's saying stacking Wizards lets you get the Sixer stack here. Listen, there are Wizards plays tonight that are going to be viable, right? Champagny is going to be a viable play because blowout or not, he gets his 35 minutes of run.
I have a take on that take.
Okay.
I have a take on that take.
We have Carrington here.
Yep.
Again, games where they just lost by 40. He played 33 minutes. I'm not saying that they're great plays. I'm just saying that the minutes will be there more likely than not for them, seemingly no matter the situation of the game flow. But I will listen to your take. I know you've been studying the rotations for today. So we'll talk. Well, I guess we can talk about that if you want. Micic is where the chalk is today.
Yeah.
We all played him against Philly, and we're like, why did Simpson play all these minutes? He burned the whole field that day.
Yes.
And then he bounced back and played 35, 35, 34. He's been the stud we expected him to be pretty much outside of that one game. Best pace-up spot in the NBA, Chicago. Is there any reason not to play Vasilij Micic tonight?
I don't want to answer that question.
Okay.
Because the last time I answered that exact question, we all saw what happened.
We've also been unlucky with like the unanimous chalk plays the last couple of slates. Busting, right?
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown, nothing. Cole Anthony a couple nights ago, nothing.
Isaiah Stewart last night.
Stewart did nothing. Yeah, I'm even pretty sure on like the Wednesday slate, it was like, you got to play this guy. And then was it Bridges? Bridges had like 31 fantasy points or something.
McBride.
Yeah, maybe it was Deuce. Yeah, but Vasilij Micic is here. It's the best spot on the board.
He is a great. I was just kidding. He's a great play. But like, the last time you asked me that question, the exact way you asked it was, there's no reason not to play him.
Dude,
and then he played
31,
minutes.
34, randomly 19. I don't know what happened. 35, 34.
No, I'm all in. I'm eating the chalk. I'm eating the chalk. I'm also bleeding, I think.
Are you?
Yeah, I just opened up like a
scab.
I had a wound.
When you have children, right? You just get random cuts and things around you. So
right on the back, and I just touched my finger. Confirmed, I'm bleeding, but like I'm gonna power through it. Like
that's fine. That's fine. Gotta do what you gotta do, right? Sick game.
If this is the NBA, they would have to stop the game and blood on my arm and jersey and stuff.
It's true. If it was the NFL, you'd have to miss a play, right? Go to the sidelines, miss a play, come back in unless we call a timeout.
Yeah.
All right. Working our way down the list after Micic here. Where are we going with the value plays? He is, of course, a value play, but is there anybody under him like Kevin Porter Jr., $4,200, played 37 minutes, no Harden in that game, but he played 24 and 25 the games before that. Like, any interest here? Anything else we got looking at?
Yeah, so I thought about Kevin Porter, almost included him in the playbook today. I did not. I'm not against it. We don't even know, like, assuming Amir Coffey is in the starting lineup, but we don't officially have that confirmation. They started Nick Batum in the second half last game. There was also no Amir Coffey in that game. So I think Porter is definitely viable coming off the bench. I think it's worth noting that Norm Powell finally saw his like minutes spike back, like 35 minutes last game. So I don't know what the minutes look like for Kevin Porter unless Harden is at all limited by the groin. I saw, who was it? Prime had mentioned Jared Butler, and I actually had written him up in the playbook.
Yeah.
So I think like the line of thinking of Washington, where you were like, and we can just talk about Washington as a whole here, because the Champagny thing. So not that I don't think Champagny's going to play, because I do. I think the 35 minutes definitely did have something to do with Alex Sarr being out the last two games. Because when you look at Champagny being, now they got blown out in the Dallas game and he played 29. So again, I'm not suggesting that he's not going to get near.
They get blown out. They get blown out a lot. Right?
They do. No, I know, and like they're still not healthy. Yeah. But like, where the difference between like a Champagny and Butler for me today would be Champagny's price, because he has been good and playing a lot of minutes for 3 straight games, is at a price where I'm a little more uncomfortable than Jared Butler's, where like, you know, it's a 17-point spread. There's not many 17-point spreads that end up being close or like the team outright wins.
Yeah.
But so I'm not suggesting it won't be a blowout. I'm just saying I feel way better about Jared Butler getting to value and exceeding it than I would Justin Champagny, based on the Sarr stuff coming back and based on like the $800 price difference. You know, Champagny could still just be a guy, and like if he starts, which I don't think he will, but if he does, then it doesn't matter. Like he is like live for 30 plus minutes. So I guess it just depends on the starting lineup. I would assume he's not starting, but I guess we'll see. We don't know what they're going to do with Sarr back. Right. I'd assume Poole, Sarr, Valanciunas, Koulibaly, and Carrington, but also they might go Champagny over Carrington, and that's something that we'd have to sort through. But I do think Jared Butler is popping in the projections. He's a very good fantasy player when you look at the numbers this year. Well over a fantasy point per minute. Obviously, not a lot of minutes, but when you look at just over the last few games, starting to be in the rotation just out of necessity, and played 26 in the blowout last game, like that's probably in the cards once again, if and when this game gets out of hand. $3,700, I'd be a little more comfortable getting there than Champagny, but ultimately, if Champagny's starting, then we can revisit this conversation and be like, well, now it doesn't matter because one of them's starting, one of them isn't, and in any scenario, the guy they're both going to start or both are going to close, but one guy also had the benefit from the starting lineup. So we'll see what the Washington starting lineup is. Right now, I do like Jared Butler 37 for some value, but we'll see how Washington is handled in general, because Valanciunas is really popular again, and he's the first person off the floor tonight if this is first person, and he's not coming back if this is a blowout. So we'll see how Washington is handled in general.
Great. Anybody else here? Do you like any of the Minnesota plays against the Lakers on the other side of that matchup?
Not a point guard. It's a mess.
Yeah. Shooting guard then. Anthony Edwards is 92. Brandon Miller, $9,000. Donovan Mitchell, $8,900.
I'm definitely interested in Brandon Miller, and I have not been able to, and maybe it's just the positional depth at power forward. I have just been lost all day long waiting for the Miles Bridges ownership to go away. Like Miles Bridges has been the second highest roster player of the day, like all day. And I get it, but because the price, but oh my God, he hasn't played in a month.
What will the minutes look like for Bridges, right? Like,
hasn't played in a month, and it was a knee. This wasn't like a finger where he can do cardio, or it wasn't like a concussion. Like it's a knee, like it affects your movement and your running. So like in every scenario you kind of think of, Brandon Miller is going to play 40 minutes. He's going to continue to take a lot of shots. He's going to continue to be really good peripherally. So, yeah, I mean, I think people are going to get scared off by the price, but, you're taking the best player on a team in the best matchup on the board. Yeah. So I think of the three, I'd be most willing to get to Miller. I think Donovan Mitchell's probably okay. If that game stays close, Donovan Mitchell might score 50 actual, sure. But is that game going to stay close? 17-point spread. I guess if Mobley were to sit, that's your win condition for Washington, or that's your competitiveness condition for Washington. And not a lot of interest in Ant. I'm always in large field stuff. You could play Ant. He's starting to look better offensively. They're starting to look better as a team, but 92 is not doing it for me for this version currently.
I agree, especially on this slate where there's some other options that we want to get to anyways. Underneath, Levine 78, Poole 73, Matherin 73.
Levine for me amongst this tier would be the guy, and my interest could soar depending on what we got for who's in, who's out for Chicago. Also, back spasms. That's my least favorite. Those are my least favorite words after Jakob Poeltl. As I tweeted it yesterday, I played a 3% Jakob Poeltl laying in bed, and I was like, oh, Jakob Poeltl's not playing. That's super unfortunate for me. And then he was playing, and I was like, oh, great. And he stunk. And I don't know if it has to do with the back. I don't know. Like,
he started out hot though.
He started out shot out of a cannon, right? Like, screw these back spasms. But what's the meme? Back spasms. We know we're
seeing numerous players trying to play through back spasms, and then
was it Cam Thomas? Cam Thomas earlier this year, I think. Lauri Markkanen. So
was Wagner that, or was that an illness?
No, Wagner was the illness. Illness. I'm a little. I would say Levine is my favorite of that group. Also, I don't really like it. Like Jordan Poole can shoot himself into a big night. Matherin, we know, has a ceiling when he's rebounding. But 73, I'm a little different about that price.
Independently, I reached out to you today without even realizing your playbook cover was Norm Powell, because I had written up the underdog pick and Marco for today, and I was like, hey, do you know that Norm Powell is the usage rate leader for the Clippers when he's on the floor? And you're like, did you see my playbook? And I said, I certainly did not. Then you send me in, and sure enough, Norm Powell's on the cover. So independently, both of our research have led us to Norman Powell here today, and yet the field has not followed us. So is this going to be our tournament winner play tonight when we both jam Norm Powell at $6,300 into our lineups?
I'm playing 100% Norm Powell today.
All the Norm Powell, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm a little confused at the ownership, and I think it's still people catching up to like limited Norm Powell, John.
Sure,
but like, limited Norm Powell, he went from 25 to 35 minutes from one game to the next.
Right.
There's no limit. And if, when we're looking at like Norm Powell on a, this is like not your grandfather's Norm Powell.
No.
Like, this is, I need you to start, I need you to score, and I need you to score a lot. And when you're looking at this matchup, this is a massive pace-up spot for the Clippers. Denver's 5th in pace this year. When you look at Denver's defensive numbers over the last handful of games, that includes a loss to the Washington Wizards. They're 18th, they're bottom half of the league. There's nothing that screams like, oh man, look out.
They're 28th in points per game allowed to the shooting guard position this year. They're 25th in points per game allowed to guards overall. And so that's bottom of the league, obviously. Not, they're allowing just a ton of points to opposing guards in general this season. And Norm Powell has contributed to that. He had 28 points in 25 minutes against them again when he came back into their lineup. First game back was against Denver. 25 minutes, 28 points. Then he go back early in the season, second game of the year, he played 33 minutes. This, I think, is when Norm popped onto our radar. We're like, whoa, we're getting a different Norm this year in that starting lineup. 37 actual. Now, the issues we tend to have with Norm Powell is he doesn't give you a lot of other things. Yes. Now, lately, again, 4-4, 4-5, we get that. We're cooking, right? We get 4-4 tonight with the possible 30 burger scoring wise. Like, that's right here. That's 43 fantasy points at $6,300. And we know this is a guy that generally gets steals. He had no steals in that game. Yeah, you added a couple more points and you added all the things we're talking about with the space up spot and all that stuff here tonight. Yeah, and independently, you and I came to Norm Powell. I'm in agreement with you. I'm playing Norm Powell. I bet it's over points today. I'm in. We're in on Norm tonight.
With just for the numbers, folks. No Terrence Mann, no Derrick Jones Jr. this year. Both guys are out. 29% usage rate, 1.27 fantasy points per minute. I mean, that's not a small forward or a 6,300 shooting guard small forward. Like, that is a $8,000 shooting guard small forward in a massive pace up spot. So I just looked at the ownership, a little disappointed, John, to see that people are catching on a little bit here.
They're not there a little more, yeah.
But it's like the least surprising thing of the day because I just been waiting, like, please don't rise, please don't. Oh,
I mean, he's still like not as highly rostered as we would have expected. Now there's still 2 hours to roster lock, so there are an hour and a half to roster lock. That could certainly bump back up. I think what we probably need, honestly, is some guys to get ruled out here. We need Vucevic to be ruled out tonight, right? Because then everybody jams in the Bulls guards
and Giddey. Yeah, Giddey and Vooch.
Giddey, you think Giddey needs to get ruled out too?
I think that would help because then you're talking like now you're getting Levine, Kobe, and Dosunmu possibly all getting ownership.
Would you play Harden and Powell together as Michael Montgomery? I mean, I certainly think you can. Again, when Norm Powell's on the floor this year, and this is without me taking anybody off the floor, just Norm Powell on the floor, he and Harden both have 27% usage rates, but it's a little bit higher for Norm than Harden. Overall this year, just with the team, everybody on the floor, we have no Giddey, says Prime. Is that official? We got a no Giddey? No Giddey alert? We get that? I don't get that yet.
See it.
We'll see. If it came through, it came through. We'll confirm or not. But Harden's got like a 31% usage rate, just about everybody in general on the floor this season. So like, you can definitely play them both. Denver's not a good defensive team, as I just said. They're a bottom 5 defensive team against guards overall this season in terms of points allowed. So, if you want to stack that game, obviously that means you're throwing Joker in at center, and you're going to stack that game that way. You're not going to play Harden and Powell without probably getting Jokic in your lineup if you can afford it, I guess. But Powell, for me, not to continue the extension, is where I want to go in this mid-tier. Christian Braun's questionable too.
He's probable. It's probable. Him and Aaron Gordon are both probable.
Okay. Where do we go next? 5K range and under, I guess, was where we'd be looking at. Is there anybody at shooting guard?
Just addressing. No Diddy. Got it. No Giddey. No Diddy. Yeah. Just to address Anthony's comment. I know Justin got to it already. No from me, dog. I do agree that Jared McCain probably should be playing more, but not going to pay 62 with them. Everyone being healthy. Can't do that. I don't have like a lot of love for the rest of this position, truthfully. There's a lot of ownership going to Karis LeVert today. And I've been trying to like parse through the love, and I understand 29 minutes. That was obviously due to Evan Mobley being out in the last quarter of that game where LeVert got to play all of it. Yeah. Also, there was no Isaac Okoro in that game. Isaac Okoro is probable to play tonight. So if there's Mobley active here, I would probably have a hard time getting to LeVert. And my expectation for him is not 29 minutes. It's probably closer to that like 23, 24 mark that he usually sits at. Not saying he can't get there.
No, we've definitely seen him get there, but certainly, more risky.
I would be underweight on the field. Like I think the field's getting there pretty aggressively, or were earlier today. So
yeah, I agree with you. What about Nembhard? Played to 30 minutes the other day.
He's fine. He's like he always seemingly. I always feel like when to get to Nembhard, I need Halliburton out.
Sure,
right? Because he just looks aggressive, right? When there's no Halliburton.
Agreed. And he feels like he's one of those guys that are maybe just a better NBA player than DFS player, right? Like he fills a lot of needs. He's good enough on the defensive end.
Yep.
But when it comes to DFS, he's just not really
until guys are out. And then like we saw it, right? Halliburton out, great, fire him up. But like with a fully healthy-ish team, I would say the interesting names to me down here, I can make a case for Chris Dunn at 4K because they're shorthanded. Okay. And also like for Dunn, he's starting, the whole field is going to Jordan Miller. And we've done this before. And again, I think Jordan Miller is actually a very good player. And when you look at some of the stuff that happened with the Clippers last game, Derrick Jones Jr. played the whole first quarter. Jordan Miller was in the closing lineup. But there was no James Harden. There was no Amir Coffey in that game. So where there was guys out, there was opportunity for Miller, and him playing well leads him to 32 minutes. Like the usage rate without Terrence Mann and Derrick Jones is fine. It's about 23%, 22% rather. About a 0.8 fantasy point per minute in that span. A good matchup. I mean, like, I think there's a case to play Chris Dunn, who's starting, and if he plays well, they keep him on the floor because he's a really good defender, and no one's going to play him. So I think the Clippers down here are a little bit interesting because they are missing multiple wings. They are in need of scoring as well, and Jordan Miller can provide them with both those things.
Agreed. Thoughts on some game theory plays with someone like Sam Merrill here today? Again, they're up. It's a 16.5, 17-point spread.
Yeah.
He already plays 20 minutes a night in their rotation as it is. Could definitely be a beneficiary potentially of more minutes. Now, we only played 23 against Washington here, and again, they won by 40. But he did also have 34 fantasy points in that game. Do you play any of that here if you think Mitchell and Garland and all them are destined for like 25 minutes tonight?
If you think that this game blows out, and again, I can't fault you for it, then there's like game theory plays and Sam Merrill's there.
Okay. Anybody else?
No. And to your point, like the game theory plays are more on the Washington side. I feel like people are more so getting to Washington. But it's not a bad way to think, like being on the other side of the coin. Like,
where there's actually like better players, right?
Yeah, where there's like
Merrill's a good player who's already in the rotation. Thoughts on Marcus Smart for Prime 8 here?
He has a very high ceiling coming off the Memphis bench. He just, is that he's coming off the bench.
Yep. Sarr will not have a minutes limit tonight per coach.
Yes, he will. Well, this game's 24 in the third. He absolutely will have a limit.
True. Evan Mobley still a game time decision. Giving us absolutely.
Like, this is what I'm saying, dude. There's nothing that has happened today, right? Yeah. What's the biggest news item that has happened today? Austin Reeves getting upgraded?
Probable. Yeah, Reeves probable. Small forward, Paul George, 8K. Then we have to go down to Michael Porter and Cam J at 71 and 7K for the guys we haven't yet discussed. You play PG-13 with everybody healthy and active at $8,000. I find it hard to do, right? You shared the usage rates for Joel Embiid. It's very difficult for anybody else. I mean, I don't know how Maxey did what he did, but like Paul George definitely isn't doing anything if Maxey and Embiid are playing that at that level too, though.
Did he hit it just for? We'll share. We will not share the Embiid usage rate last game until we get to Joel Embiid. Sure. I don't want to. But I will look up Paul George last game, John. Take a guess at what his ownership was.
Ownership?
I mean, usage. You know what Embiid's usage is, so like
17%.
Yeah, exactly 17. You're good at you're pretty good.
I'm really good. I'm really good.
You are good at guessing. But 17% usage. Again, that's not going to be like this is your number. This is what it's going to be. Like it's not. But
you're playing with high usage players, and JoJo's like the high usage player, but Maxey is also a high usage player. So
Maxey had a 26% usage rate.
If that's the way this goes, and Paul George is like you're standing the corner guy now, like all of a sudden, like
which you saw with the Clippers at times. Like again, really good basketball player that always has a ceiling. I don't think I'd rather play him than like Cameron Johnson for $1,000 cheaper.
You think Paul George is overrated?
No, I think Paul George is an extremely good basketball player.
Do you? He just finds himself like just on losing teams. Like he's not a winning player.
He hasn't been he hasn't won a lot. I mean, the Clippers had really good teams. I would say the Clippers were very unfortunate with a lot of their injury stuff. The OKC team, Paul George had an MVP season when Westbrook went down. Mm-hmm. He was like second in the MVP in that stretch.
Is that Hoodie Melo season?
Melo might have been there, yeah. Indiana, he was obviously, following in Danny Granger's footsteps, and then
that's what I'm saying. Like, is he just Danny Granger?
I think Paul George has been an elite two-way player for a long time, but and I don't think winning a championship always qualifies you as Chris Paul is one of the best point guards ever, but Chris Paul's not going to win a championship, Nope.
All right, just wondering. Just curious your thoughts.
But on this slate, I would rather play Cam Johnson to
that's where I'm getting, right? Don't we want Cam J here?
Yeah, he's been great. 25% usage, 1.15 fantasy points per minute, and a 4% usage increase without Cam Thomas, Zaire Williams. So if you think that game stays close, I would rather Cam Johnson. Michael Porter has been really good as well. 35 plus fantasy points in 3 of 4. The shooting has been elite for Michael Porter, and it hasn't even been from 3. Michael Porter's been making a lot of 2s. So there's just a lot of names I'd rather get to than 8K Paul George, but also I don't think Paul George is overrated, and I resent you for making that comment.
I think he's good. I don't think he's as great as I think
his contract suggests they are.
Yeah, I think his reputation has led people to think he is. So again, he's good. He's fine. He's okay. Let's see here. We talked Powell already there. Got Hachimura probably locked into a ton of minutes tonight. Is there anybody else down here, small forward, that you'd play?
What do I have in the playbook? I don't think I wrote anything.
I was gonna say,
I have Amir Coffee as an option. Yeah, I mean, it's just not him and Jordan Miller. It's again the Clippers stuff,
and that's because you don't think Champagne is locked into big minutes tonight.
I will concede on the Champagne front if he's starting, but I think that if he's not, then the 34 to 37 minutes that we were going to get are not as concrete. I do still think mid to high 20s is an option. But when you're talking about why I prefer Jared Butler to him, it's, an $800 price difference. So I'm not totally out on Champagne. I just want to see the Washington starting lineup before I'm fully supportive of Justin Champagne. And then the Amir Coffee thing, all the ownership's going to Nicholas Batum. And another one I just haven't. I think the ownership, because nobody knows what to do today because there's nothing that has happened. So all of that ownership, when you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh, this will go away when news breaks. There's nothing that's broken. So Nicholas Batum started the second half last game and played all these minutes and had single-digit fantasy points because Nicholas Batum is 40 years old and doesn't want to shoot.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he's not a fine basketball player, but at the very least, the current form of Amir Coffee when he is on the floor is being fine. I even posted it, and I was looking at some Amir Coffee stuff earlier because, like, I assume he's starting. That would be my guess. He's the 5th starter for Derrick Jones. 5 straight games of 18% or better usage rate. I feel like Amir Coffee had 5 games in the last like 3 years with an 18% usage rate or better. And in 3 of them, they've been 20% or better. I think there's 30 minutes on the table for Amir Coffee. He's been their like primary bench guy all year long. He's $4,000. And I would just like, there's undoubtedly, I don't care if Nicholas Batum was 2K. I'd feel like I'd still rather pay $4,000 for Amir Coffee because I'm at least confident if Amir Coffee's starting, he's going to shoot more than 1 to 2 times. And I'm not confident Nicholas Batum will. So that's kind of why I wrote Amir Coffee up. I think he starts. I think he's going to play a bunch of minutes. And but yeah, there's nothing else down here for me.
Okay. Power forward we go then here. Getting with some questionable in the status with Evan Mobley. LeBron's already out. Siakam's 81. Randall, $7,900 against the Lakers. Little revenge game there. Triple J, Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah, I mean, Mobley, you know, we just saw him go absolutely nuclear. Best game of his career as a pro. 16 for 23. I'm happy to see him shooting more threes. I just don't see him paying this price off, even if he plays. I actually wrote up Julius Randle today in the playbook that you guys can find at fantasyalarm.com. You can get 50% off your first month too, right now, John. Right now, I heard. Right now.
QR code up there somewhere over here.
50% off first month of your subscription. You pay it off. That'll be your yearly
7 days free.
7 days free. You'll literally pay it off first month. I promise. I wrote up Julius Randle in the playbook today. I was like kind of surprised to see because I feel like he's just been largely disappointing. But 1.1 fantasy points per minute, almost a 27% usage. I was kind of still surprised to see those numbers. It's a really shallow position today. I think power forward in general is super shallow. And Lakers are 26th in defensive rating. I like Randall as a safe play. I think Triple J always in tournament range. Like Triple J has been amazing this year, mostly stemming from the ability to stay out of foul trouble. I would say like largely being able to stay out of foul trouble has just given him infinite, like what's the Infinity Stone? Is that what it is?
Yeah,
like the guy has a crazy ceiling with or without Ja Morant. And like Ja, he hasn't really been extended a lot, but you saw it in the Boston game. Hey, look at that. In a game he's extended, he goes freaking nuclear, just like Morant. You know, do I think that this is a game that he plays 30-something minutes in? It could be if it's competitive. So there's still likely no Zach Edey. He's listed doubtful. I think Jaren Jackson is really interesting in tournaments. That's what my feelings on Memphis in general. I think they're a great tournament team. If you think Brooklyn can, in that point, in that like realm of thinking, I would like Brooklyn as well. Like if I'm playing Jackson or if I'm playing a Morant, I would like one of 3 Brooklyn guys. 2 we've mentioned, 1 we'll mention at center. Sure. But I like Jaren Jackson tournaments. Talk Michael Porter, talk Cam J. I think the 7K tier is largely appealing. Then there's not a lot else that I really truly like.
Sure. Again, not much else there. Aldama is always, I think, like a tournament play. The minutes keep kind of going weird on him there. Where are you with like these under 6K guys?
Well, hold on. I want to talk 6K because Bridges.
Okay. I thought we talked about Bridges at Brandon Miller already. Would you?
What do you think of the ownership with Bridges? Because I think it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really agree with the minutes that I think that he could get. He's missed so much time.
He's missed almost an entire month.
And it's just set him at like, what do you have him as for minutes today?
26 and a half.
Like that. If he's 26 and a half, he's not as highly rostered as it shows that he is. Now,
I know that's lower than the field, but like he hasn't played in a month.
But I think that could be our leverage. I don't think I'm playing him unless we get word that there is no minutes limit, which hopefully we'll get. Hopefully we'll get some comments. Now it's an 8:00 start.
Yup, it sure is.
So that's an hour after roster lock, which means we may not get this until the middle, until the game's already play. But I would hope that maybe some reporters out there, hey, it's Bridges going to be on a limit today, and we'll get that, we'll get that news. But I am fading him without that knowledge. Yes. I'm not going to play him. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. I don't know. Do you agree? Disagree?
No.
Yeah.
I have been really surprised at the ownership because without the field has to think that there's no limit. If that many people are getting to Miles Bridges,
he missed a month with a knee injury.
Well, dude, a knee. It's not a hand. It's not an arm. It's not like upper body. It's something that prevents you from doing a lot.
Right.
So, I think it's largely because I think the position is really shallow after, and I don't even, a lot of people probably don't even want to play Julius Randle or Jaren Jackson. And
they ruled him eligible to return to practice on 11/27, and it's now 12/13. He's just getting into a game. It's been like two weeks plus since he's been cleared to go.
It's a little confusing, and like you said, our opinion will change based on the news that we get. Hey, not on a limit. Okay.
So the injury, even then, Bridges stepped on a foot late in the loss, and the contact re-aggravated a previous right knee injury. So it's a second injury to the same knee that he previously had hurt. That I guess had missed some time on the offseason.
Do you remember? Well, no. It was during the year in November, and he came back after like 10 days.
Sure.
And he was limited.
Yeah.
So
27, plays 33, gets hurt again. So, okay. Even more to that point, I get it. 35 and 49 in 27 minutes. Milwaukee, Cleveland kind of went nuclear in those games. Chicago pace up spot. I don't know, man. I still don't think I get there.
It's like there are a lot. I have him at 26.5. That's what I put him at today. And I'm not saying he can't go off, but I'm also thinking like if the field wants to play him that badly coming off a nearly month absence, that's something that I'd be willing to like
fade.
If I lose because of that, I lose because of that, right?
I agree.
Here's something I'd rather do. And it's a tougher spot, I'd rather play Aaron Gordon at 5,500, who is fully back. He only played 23 minutes because they won by 150,000 points. And in the 2 games prior, we're off the limit, right? 33, 34 minutes, 28, 34 fantasy points. Does Bridges offer a higher ceiling? I would say yes.
Sure. Yeah, he doesn't have to deal with Jokic.
Aaron Gordon was also super good to start the year.
Yeah.
He's also been making a lot of shots this year, which we haven't seen in years past. Obviously, that argument hurts the last 2 games, but 47% from 3 through his first 11 games. He's a very good basketball player. I'd be more willing to get to Gordon at 55 if there's any type of limit on Bridges at 6K.
Yeah, that's fine by me. Work our way down this list here then. I mentioned, what did you say on Hachimura at small forward? Did you mention Hachimura at small forward?
I didn't. I let you have that one.
I didn't say anything on it. Did you?
I just went by it.
Look, 41 and 39 minutes. There's no LeBron. Like, they're not going to take him off the floor here. So, just nothing. No and zero. Nada.
I'm not like, I don't know. I think that the minutes are there's something to be said about the minutes. You're right. I don't know what he's been
a good player. I mean,
he has been a good fantasy player. Obviously, he had a good game with LeBron in Atlanta, and he then played without LeBron and Reeves in Portland. Now Reeves is back. There's still no LeBron. Like, I'm indifferent about it. I would say Atlanta and Portland is a slightly different spot than Minnesota with the way that Minnesota has kind of ramped up defensively. Minnesota was struggling earlier in the year. They're now 5th in the league in defense, and that's like solely based on the last handful of games. So like if you end on Rui, I'm not I'm like not against it. I'm also just kind of like, yeah, okay, sure. That's my feeling on Rui. I don't know what to give you here, John. Yeah, okay, sure.
I just want to know if he's in your player pool or not.
At the same price, I'd prefer Gordon.
Okay.
I would probably have him ahead of Bridges if Bridges ownership holds up.
Okay. Value plays, power forward.
I like Naz Reid in tournaments only, though.
Okay.
There's a very wide range of outcomes for Naz Reid, like super high ceiling, incredibly gut wrenching floor because no one's going to play him.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else?
I don't think so.
A couple questions on the Spurs game here. Spurs Blazers. Beantown wants to know thoughts on Champagny, the other one, with Keldon Johnson out.
Yeah, I like the price.
And then just Michael, thoughts in general on Spurs and Portland.
Yeah. Who did I write up today? I wrote up Wemby, obviously. I wrote up Chris Paul. There's no Stephon Castle in that game. No Stephon Castle and Keldon Johnson for San Antonio.
I don't like Devin Vassell probably tonight.
Yeah.
I don't know what his FanDuel price is though.
It's $6,000. I did not write him up. I'm not against it. I think the Spurs are going to be really popular. I think Chris Paul per dollar is your best play. Champagny is going to be really solid, $5,500 shooting guard, small forward, really good price.
Minutes starting to tick up for Vassell, 28 in 2 of the last 3 games.
Yeah, Vassell is going to be in play. I did write up Jeremy Sohan. I think Sohan probably is your most likely candidate to start. Okay. $6,300. I'm really interested in that. And then Wemby. On the Portland side, I have no idea what to make of their center room because every single one of them is questionable.
Sure.
Ayton questionable, Clint Gain questionable, Rob Williams questionable, Duop Reith. Every single one of them questionable. So, like, if they all sit, then, I mean, Jabari Walker is probably like per dollar the best play on FanDuel tonight. We'll see what happens. Shaedon Sharp is fine on FanDuel. Anthony Simons is fine on FanDuel. I don't really love the Portland side. I definitely prefer the San Antonio side. They're very, very, very nice.
Sure. Anything else?
No, not a power forward.
Center. Oh, man. We got 3 big guys here. We have one guy that's going for like 100 every single game. And
dude, the pricing is hilarious. No, the pricing, like being the way it is so funny.
12.5 for the Joker, 85.95 in the last 2 games. He's just given the MVP award now. I mean, he's averaging 32, 13, and 10. Like, he's averaging 71.5 fantasy points per game. That is over 5x of 12.5. He's too cheap at 12.5 right now. He's too cheap. He's almost 10xing at 12.5. He's like closing in. He's getting close. Then you have Anthony Davis, who, without LeBron James, as Anthony so eloquently put it up there earlier, that he I can't even find it anymore. He does more. He does more. Davis' numbers goes up when LeBron comes out.
It's correct. Actually, to Anthony's point, it was a good observation. 5.8% usage bump, 37% usage, 1.6 fantasy points per minute.
Jokic is grandpa's Westbrook from 2017. Do you remember those days? It's like 14K Westbrook. You're like, you have to play him. He's 20-point triple doubling every night. So, and
then Rockets Harden too.
Rockets
Harden was that as well.
Dude, there's some epic some plays there.
Yeah.
Rob, I'm late. Well, happy in. If you have any questions, Rob, feel free to check it out, or you can go sign up. 7-day free trial right now. You can go check out the playbook. You can also just watch the replay when this show's over in 4 minutes, and you still have plenty of time to do everything else you got going on there. But then you got JoJo at $9,500, who should be like 11K.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You tell me. How are you building your lineup? Are you fading Nikola Jokic? We're single entry players. We know this. Are you fading 100 fantasy points tonight from the Joker?
On the what's the meme? The Jack Nicholson meme?
Yeah, with
Yes.
I know this. I know the movie too, and I'm blanking on it. Go ahead for it.
So I currently am fading him.
So dangerous. He can double up any other player on the board.
It is a dangerous game, and it's more dangerous because I'm playing someone without a knee. I'm playing a one need player.
So you're playing JoJo tonight against the Pacers.
I'm playing a one need player. I sent you this before, right? I messaged you on GChat earlier today, and I said, guess this player's usage. Guess who this player is. And it was a 5-game sample.
Yeah.
And 3 of the 5 games, the usage rate was 37% or better, including a 47% usage rate last game. 47% last game. And like, I understand that there's a scenario where he's never the same player again, because when you watch him, there's clearly a stability, like even his stability with the knee when he jumps.
Evan Mobley ruled out tonight.
Okay, well, let's pivot to that in a second.
We'll rehash it, but just giving you the info.
There's clearly an issue with the knee still. Doesn't look comfortable when he lands on it. But if Joel Embiid is playing 30-plus minutes, which he has in each of the last 2 games, if he's going to have the usage rate that he's had in the 3 of the last 4, which he's going to in this matchup, and the peripheral stat Embiid is coming through, he should be Anthony Davis's price.
Sure. And
for that, plus the fact that I'm able to allocate my funds comfortably elsewhere.
Right. You have $3,000 to play with.
I am playing Embiid as my top per dollar center. And again, this is coming from you and I are probably a little different on this, because when I watched the pre-show with you and Justin, you guys are like, let's just plug Jokic. And that's usually where I am. But we also haven't had this Embiid on a slate $3,000 less than Nikola Jokic. Yeah, so like, where I think you are perfectly okay going to Jokic, I have no problem for any human being wanting to play Nikola Jokic, because he's the best fantasy asset in the game, bar none, period. Right? He's also more popular than Embiid, so there's leverage. If Embiid gets 70 fantasy points tonight, there's almost nothing Jokic can do unless he goes for 100 to where he's a better play than Embiid, right? Sure. If Joel Embiid gets 70 fantasy points tonight, there's nothing Jokic can do unless he scores 100. And I think probably huge pace-up spot, at home, favorites, coming off 2 of his better games, 2 of his best games of the year.
Sure.
I am banking on that version of Joel Embiid again here. So personally, I think I would rank them Embiid, Jokic, Davis per dollar. Obviously, super close. If you want to just say like 1A, 1B, 1C, because
they're right next to each other in ownership, Embiid and Joker as well, because people are basically doing the exact same thing that you're talking about. Nobody's playing Anthony Davis. They're like, listen, I am spending up. Joker's going for 90. Let's ride. Or they're like, you know what? JoJo's looking better. $9,500. Let's roll there and see if we can get, like you're saying, 65 fantasy points out of Embiid tonight. And like, you're good to go. I laughed a little bit out loud while you were going over the Embiid stats, because the Joker 2 games ago had a 52%.
Dude, I mean, it's so sick, dude. It's so sick in the head. And he has not been, like, if there's no Jamal Murray again, John, there's a case that this is just going to stay, right? The scoring is just not going to go away.
I watched some of these games. The other teams have 0 chance against him.
No, there's no chance.
He's catching the ball, and he's doing literally whatever he wants at all times.
Well, and now they have to respect him as a 50% three-point shooter. Like, what do you do?
Right. This is a man that hates the game of basketball. To him, it is no different than punching a clock and sitting at a desk and like grinding away for 8 hours at your computer doing data entry, and then he like goes home and like just can't wait to get to the dog track or the horse track, right? Or something like that. He despises the game of basketball. The other thing to your JoJo point too, only 6 free throw attempts here. We know that he is like an elite free throw getter. So there could have been even more fantasy points there in that matchup in Chicago. Listen, I'm with you. I like it as well.
I know. Dude, you don't have to like, you don't have to agree. And I think that's like why center is like, ooh, this, and it didn't get any easier. I mean, Jared Allen, no Mobley.
$100 against the Wizards with no Evan Mobley here. I think obviously that opens up some other potential value talk.
Yes.
I mean, Dean Wade has been playing minutes anyways.
Back to LeVert. I do think there's a case if this game stayed closer. Karis LeVert is in your closing lineup.
Okoro is in.
Yep. So my guess would be the easiest scenario. Like my easiest thoughts are Okoro and Dean Wade are your starters alongside Jared Allen. So you just have Mitchell, Garland, Allen, Dean Wade, Isaac Okoro.
They sent Porter to the G League, so like they don't even have him up on the roster right now.
Porter on the G League. You have LeVert, first one off the bench with Merrill, and then Niang gets a bump, obviously coming off the bench. But like I think Allen, Mitchell, Garland, LeVert, that would Dean Wade probably be where my interest would lie. Like that does really intrigue me for Karis LeVert because I do think you can play smaller depending on what Washington does with LeVert a lot in this spot.
All right, so we talked about the top 3 guys there. I mean, Vuk is also in an elite spot against Charlotte, but it feels like at this point there's no reason to really get to him.
No.
Outside of just being different. We've ran through a lot of these. We did have Jordan say Zubac's been holding his own. Like sort of. I mean,
he's been great this year.
Yeah. It's not going to stop Jokic from doing whatever he wants tonight, but it's been fine. 7,400 feels a bit expensive for me there, especially given the Allen news and the Mobley news there now. Mark Williams is off the injury report. Okay, so we have that. Would you play any of these other centers? I guess is about any value centers, mid-tier centers for you?
Yeah, Claxton 59. That would be the only other name I'd really throw out there. Season high minutes last game 33. Season high points. Both those two things can coexisting at the same time.
Shot attempt on the rise.
Raises an eyebrow. Yeah, I mean, most shots, most minutes, most points. It's crazy. So Claxton, I think we're about to get. I mean, he's their highest paid player. He's realistically probably their best two-way player. So I like Claxton in tournaments 5,900.
Yep. The Ty Jerome mentioned there, his minutes had obviously been depleted with everybody sort of back.
Yeah.
And then 21 last game could certainly be a guy that is a blowout beneficiary here. And
yeah, I am fine.
He had his hero run right here.
He did. Well, that was no LeVert in that run.
No, I remember. Yeah.
I think like he obviously, there was no Okoro in this last game. Mobley got hurt early in the game.
Yep.
So yes, there's people to pick up the Mobley minutes, but now Isaac Okoro exists. Isaac Okoro had been starting previously. So I don't think that we unlikely see 21 minutes from Ty Jerome again. But like he did close this last game, John. The final minute 39 was in that closing lineup, him and Sam Merrill.
Sure.
So like he's clearly going to play blowout run if and when this game blows out. Also, that line that was 17 before Evan Mobley is 16 and a half. Hey. So like that didn't move. Evan Mobley didn't really necessarily move the needle all too much.
I'm going to see if we have any.
We didn't mention. Well, we talked Jared Allen, but he's obviously
so on cue. Karis LeVert, now the highest rostered player on the slate.
I think that there is. I mean, he's $4,700. There's not a lot of value, and
he's now jumped up to 40%.
I think it's pretty good chalk. I think it's pretty good chalk.
So still reach each there.
Yeah, I'd screw it, play them both.
Jokic's ownership probably in turn increases a little bit here now.
It did go up over 30.
Because you're getting now another value play that you can throw into your lineup, which helps you as an Embiid player here. Jared Allen now jumps up over 20. Garland as well up over 20% here.
The problem with being an Embiid guy tonight is that when the Jalen Smith at 7:29 news hits that he's starting,
Yep,
that's gonna hurt.
Well, so actually, let's talk about that for a second here. Because me and Justin talked about this. We've played Jalen Smith plenty of times this year as a last man in punt play because of his ridiculous fantasy point per minute output. It's 1.26 fantasy
Yeah,
point.
he's good. Yeah, he's good.
Would you not just stick him in your util anyways and just like ride or die with the? It's a Charlotte matchup. We may not get the Vuk news, but if we do get the Vuk news and it's in our favor, he's the best value play on the board, probably.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
So when we built the lineup last night, we included Jalen Smith just anyways.
I mean,
I think there's merit to that.
I think there's merit to it, and plus, like, there's 3 games in that pocket, and also the Clippers game that has value. That if like
just pivot around to it.
If you do get the Vooch news and he's playing, I mean, Jordan Miller is at the same price, right? And like Amir Coffey's a couple $100 more, and so you could still there's still pivots to be had unless you're going crazy on the 7 p.m. games, then you'll be able to pivot.
Yep, agreed here. All right, let's get a lineup build going. Robin here popping in. Man said Ty Jerome, stop. I mean, listen, we're just talking game theory, man. So
yeah,
that's all it is.
Come on, Rob. Don't hate on Ty Jerome. He doesn't deserve that.
Just game theory. Just game theory. Alrighty. You've kind of made your case, Jojo. It is. We were both in on Norm Powell.
Well, I mean, hold on. Don't put this all on my shoulders.
Your mic just jumped.
Did it? Like higher?
Yeah.
Like a lot higher?
You're good though.
Okay.
Here we go. From Chicago Beat Guy, our guy Justin Carlucci. Upgrade to questionable in case Vucevic can't go out. We got a G League play up here too. Upgrade.
Sonogo is available. Oh no.
There you go.
On the logo. Yeah. All right,
roll the dice on the logo. We're here. Justin, we're in. We're riding. We talked about it last night, and I'm probably gonna do it. Rob S not playing Jokic out there. I don't blame you, dude. I don't blame you. Listen, we're building this lineup as Grande's playbook. Okay, he's cover of the live show. We're going JoJo and B.
No, let's play Jokic.
No, let's see where we can go. Let's see what we can do here.
Okay,
I do think Jalen Smith makes sense as a util play though.
I do too. Sorry for my mic.
Williams says he'll play. Are we getting the news right now?
That'd be nice.
That would be incredible.
I also kind of don't want it to be now. I kind of want it to be like
because then everybody dude. If Vuk gets ruled out, I wonder how many more people play Jokic because they just
can play Jalen Smith. Yeah,
Jalen Smith.
I want the Bulls news to hit after lock. I really do.
Okay. Well, we got one piece of it now. So, and as we said here, Sonogo's upgraded to questionable. So we got Norm, we got JoJo, we got Jalen Smith.
How's that? Is my mic better now? Is it lower?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
I don't know what happened. It's like you just leaned in and yelled real quickly or something.
No, it's a new mic, so the settings are just all over the place right now, John. It's very loud right now, right?
It's super loud right now. What did you just do? What are you doing?
I'm just trying to find a happy medium, and I can't.
You were perfect the entire show until whatever you did the last like 3 seconds. So
well,
just don't touch it again.
Okay.
We got to figure out the rest of this lineup though. It's already 6:15.
Okay, Norm, Micic. I'd say move Norm to guard forward. We're gonna get Karis LeVert in there. I like Karis LeVert.
Okay. Small forward, 7K a play the rest of the way. what's our other spend up? I guess we can jam it. If we're not doing Jokic, we can fit another play in here.
I don't think there's like another like amazing spend up. I like Sohan a lot to Prince.
Yep. I said Vassell as well. Vassell feels like
Yep.
a good spot tonight with no Castle.
To Prince, don't forget end of the playbook. I have literally FanDuel plays written up specifically for FanDuel.
Bowers, what's it on Nurkic tonight?
He's sub 5K. He's 4.8K on FanDuel.
I think he's the highest roster. I'll get the ownership updated again after the show. I think Nurkic was the highest rostered FanDuel player.
He was. We'll see. That was pre Mobley news.
True. Let's see what it is now.
He's up there.
He's still up there. Jared Allen now your highest rostered center on FanDuel tonight.
We like
Jared Allen with the center power forward eligibility, of course.
I know it's dude. It's
of course.
Tell me when Jared Allen's played power forward. Never.
I don't think he has. Brandon Miller?
Yeah, I'm good with Brandon Miller.
6K.
I mean,
Cam J.
Yeah, I'd be good with Cam J.
That gives us a 49 forward.
It's probably Naz Reid or Champagny, but I don't like the Champagny. We'd have to swap.
Oh, we can hold on. Can we move Norton to forward?
Well, we can swap Brandon Miller or Brandon. 49
guard. Still kind of the same spot.
Same exact spot.
Still not really great at anything. What's Conley been up to these days?
No. Go move Miller and to forward. Move Miller. I was just gonna get Naz Reid.
You want to play Naz Reid?
Yeah, I like Naz Reid today in tournaments. Throw back to Miller. I take it back. You didn't have to move him at all.
$300 left over. That's your non-Nikola Jokic lineup. Micic, LeVert, Miller, Johnson, Embiid, Powell, Reed, and Jalen Smith. I guess if you wanted to play Joker with basically the same lineup, you would just drop down for Miller.
Yeah.
Give yourself a $6,300 Hachimura and call it a day,
Yeah.
Your favorite play of the day today?
Totally. He's definitely my favorite.
Or you could go around and play guard as well. Let's see. What do you got for $6,300 guards? Westbrook, Reeves, more guys you don't really care for. So
yeah, I mean those guys are fine.
Better than the other options is what you're saying to me.
Yeah.
Pat Williams will be limited to 20 to 24 minutes here tonight. We're getting some of the Bulls news.
Billy Donovan talking to the media. So Billy Donovan's about to spill the beans on who's playing and who's not.
We're going to get it. All right, just some example lineups for everybody here. Again, Grande's got your playbook out live right now. We got the 7-day free trial going on. Is McConnell worth the chase today? I would not, Myron. I'm not going to go after TJ.
Yeah, I'm okay there.
No, thanks. Good luck, everybody, this weekend. Get in that Discord. Sign up for the 7-day free trial. Follow us on Twitter. We'll be back